What's up, guys? Sure. I've had a couple people ask me that question, and this trick is something I don't really know how to teach. I'm gonna try my best, and that's what this video is, but it's tough. This is one of those tricks that I just had to watch over and over and over and then keep trying it, and I eventually just figured it out. But I'm gonna give you all the tips and just some little tricks that you can try to figure out that'll help you learn this faster. But like I said, this is kind of a hard trick to teach. It's one of those things you just have to do over and over until you figure it out. But I'm just gonna start showing you things. Before you start learning this, get used to two things. The first one is the motion of throwing it in an aerial from the safe handle and catching it on the safe handle like that. So just throwing it and catching it back on the safe handle. Just like that. Really simple, but that's kind of the foundation of this trick. That's kind of how it works, is throwing from the safe handle and catching on the safe handle. So that motion. Whoop! Whoop! Oh. And then the second thing you should get used to is these little transfers. Those ones aren't really involved in the trick necessarily, it's more that motion, but those will get you used to timing. So seeing the blade and then putting your fingers in at the right time. The timing of a scissor is very similar to the timing of that transfer, and those are pretty easy to learn. It's just throwing from one handle while it's up, and while it's up, catching that handle, and then just whatever. After you learn those two, start trying to actually put your fingers in the position of a scissor. So when you're catching it like this, instead of catching it with your whole hand, you're gonna tuck these two fingers, your ring and your pinky, all the way in. And that's really important because if you don't and you go for the scissor, if these are out, when the blade comes back, these fingers are out, it's gonna come down right on your fingers. So it's really important that you have these completely folded back into your hand when you're doing this scissor motion. So you're gonna throw it and start catching it like this. It's really weird to get used to, but the same timing as throwing it and catching it on the safe handle, you're doing that, but tucking these and putting your middle finger over top of your index finger. So it's gonna come back, you're gonna see the blade, wait for it to pass, and your hand's gonna come in like this. The whole motion of a scissor is pushing forward with your hand in this position. So it comes back, and when you see the safe handle, that'll flop. You push your finger in like this. This is gonna flop down on your index, and your ring goes over, and you're pushing. And when you push, that's what gives it that momentum to open up, and then you go into the chaplain. And you're gonna mess up a lot, but just get used to catching it like that and making sure these are tucked. Once you're used to that, and you can catch it in between those fingers pretty much every time, like that, you're going to start to initiate that pushing motion I was talking about. So when it's coming back and you catch it, instead of just letting it come straight down and you catch it, you're gonna catch it and you're gonna push forward as it's flopping over. You'll feel it when it first touches your middle finger. You gotta push forward, and it drags this back. It slides your fingers up. It's hard to explain, but it's like it makes it all come back and then ricochet off your middle finger to go back into the chaplain. When it's coming back and you're about to catch it like that, push forward. Push forward, just like that. By the way, I have an injured finger, so that's why I keep dropping it. And if this flipping is sloppy, this stupid thing is why. Push. Push. So like I said, this trick is hard to teach, but those two, ooh, that was gross. Those two tips are the biggest things, is just learning that motion, and then once you get used to the timing, catching it like this, and it's just a pushing motion forward, and it ricochets off your middle finger. So push forward. So as you know, with all the slow motion clips thrown in here, I think that's really what's gonna help you, is just watching that in slow motion over and over. That's how I figured it out. Just watching it being done, and you'll get it. But it's all about timing and practice, just throwing it. And I would start very slow, like that slow, just really slow. you know, once you get used to it, you can speed up a lot, and you just get used to the timing and everything. But when you're first learning it, I would definitely, when you're first learning it, I would definitely recommend throwing slow like that, like really slow, and just getting used to catching it and then getting used to pushing it, and it takes a lot of time. Ow! So like I said, this trick is really hard to teach, but those two things, just catching it like that on the safe handle and just learning the timing, watching the blade, and just having confidence is the biggest difference. Just watch it in slow motion and you will figure it out. But it's all about that push and the momentum you're giving it to go forward as it's coming around, just making sure you got your timing right and really giving it a good push. So those are the best two tips I could think of. I've said this over and over, but it's just all about practice. This trick does take a long time to learn, but just figure out the timing and you will get it, I promise. And that concludes this tutorial. I wish I could go into more detail. This trick is just one of those things that you have to try over and over and over, and you'll get it. But thank you for the suggestion on the trick. Definitely send us more suggestions so we can do more videos. I know you've been asking for us to upload a lot more. Hopefully other tricks we can teach you a little better. This one is just really difficult to explain. But thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.